Hello and welcome back to Colonise. I'm just going to boot up the full build. So this is the full build video for build for Eureka. Um, so there has been a lot of work going on in the past month for Eureka since materialism. And you might already see in the screen some of those kind of pieces of work here. So you'll see a few of the new structures that have been added to the game. Added over 30 new structures to the game because we've added the research feature. So the research feature is kind of the key way or the primary way that you will advance or progress with your colony. So you're going to be unlocking technologies, unlocking structures, unlocking buffs for your colony via research. It seems to be the simplest way to kind of progress a colony, relatively easy. So that's kind of how we did it. So the research system took a while to kind of piece together, and it was a case of it didn't work until everything was in place. So like all the research had kind of been fleshed out for the initial tree, all the structures had been added into the game, all the buffs had been set. We had to rework the resources calculations on ticks to include the new buff calculations. So yeah, it kind of there was like 2 to 3 weeks of not a lot happening, and then suddenly it all came together in a week, and the research system just kind of is there, it works, and it works really well. So if you actually look at the notes, the build notes that we include with the video on the Colonise page, on itch, the notes will look quite short, but actually in terms of work, it was like an extra week or two's worth of work compared to materialism. So it was a lot of work to kind of, because it was just a huge system to put together and make work correctly. So yeah, we've changed the initial main menu screen to include some of the new structures you'll see in the game. Obviously, build notes has been updated, and we've slightly updated the helps to just to kind of nod to research and let people know that that's in the game. This help screen in the future will probably become some sort of like in-game wiki. It's probably something similar to what you'd see what Astroneer just dropped on their game. They have an in-game kind of wiki for certain aspects. It's pretty basic. It's not as in depth as a wiki, but you can kind of find out information about structures in game, features of the game, and just kind of have a quick look in game without having to open up something else. So that's probably what this will end up being, and it will probably be added to the in-game as well, so a player can access that. So yeah, build for Eureka. This is the full build, and let's just start the game. Okay, so we've got our usual scene. So the initial scene has changed somewhat. We've added some smoke effects to the initial living dome. Just kind of, we've been experimenting with particles a bit, just to kind of see what we can do. Unfortunately, we're running on the lightweight end of the pipeline and not the high definition end of the pipeline. So we would have a lot more we could do with the HDRP because of the visual effects graph, but we don't currently have that in place. So we have some new stuff here already. You may or may not notice, like on the top here, we've kind of added this hilly terrain around the edge, just to kind of encompass you in. So you're kind of in a kind of a crater now, for better descriptions, but it's just a hilly terrain just to kind of have not an endless area into nothingness. So that's just something we've added. We've also done a complete pass on the UI in terms of scaling. One of the notes that Joanna, who's my partner in this, she has a lot of experience with UI and user experience. And one of the major feedbacks she was giving me about the UI was I just need to scale everything right down because it's just taking up way too much screen space. I wasn't sure at first, but now that I've kind of seen it in game on full screen, I definitely agree. So if you don't enter a colony name as well, we have a default name that we enter for you now, which is Opportunity. So if you save your game without naming your colony, the save file will be called Opportunity. And as you see, everything still works. And we have done some things to make the UI a bit clearer as well. So this resource bar had some opacity before because I thought it looked all right, but it turns out in practicality it doesn't really work. And as we were scaling the UI down anyway, I've kind of brought it back to a solid background. We'll probably have some proper graphics down here further down the line, but for right now, it kind of works. Another thing was readability for certain numbers. So we've colorized tick numbers where we can to easily indicate that these numbers are removing or adding to your stockpiles. So we have these buttons. So we've kind of, again, because of the UI scaling down, I've been able to bring this right down. It's no longer, I think it is a scroll area. Yeah, it's still a scroll area. But yeah, we've got a lot more room for more categories. And there's a lot less buildings initially unlocked due to the research feature. So living space is still a thing. You know, we still have hydroponics, air, water, energy. You'll notice we have access to the solar panel. I'm going to go ahead and build one of these. Yeah, so just in general, we have a lot less access to buildings. So a lot of the home interest buildings have been locked away. You see here, running up the Colony Hall on the road. And on home interests, we only have Science Lab. So I give you access to the Science Lab immediately because the Science Lab is what you build to unlock the research UI. So if I go ahead and build one of these, we get, I still need to fix this UI. It's one of those things that keeps falling through the cracks, and it's the one piece of UI that didn't get scaled down. But yeah, so research UI, there's a new button here. Again, with the UI pass, we scaled these buttons down a bit. And we've moved them over. Actually, you'd be able to see this a little better if we built a colony hall. So if we click on the colony hall, we kind of actually make it pop out of the side here, and we've scaled this down as well. And you can actually see that the colony name is Opportunity here as well. So the reason we actually name the colony Opportunity at the start is because of this UI. If you don't name it anything, there seems to be a weird bug that we were having where the size of the UI for the opportunity text or would not be there, would be much bigger, and everything else would come out of alignment. So we just name it opportunity just to just to fix the UI basically. So we've made I think these were here anyway, but these these informations are here. Home interest and constant. It's still the same information you had before, but it's just much more scaled down. And these buttons all kind of connect. And we removed the text as well because I didn't think it was that necessary. You're just gonna, the player, when they kind of see the button pop up at the same time as the UI, is going to figure it out, or they're just going to see a new button and click it, you know, and figure out what's going on. So research. This is our new research UI. It's a little bit bare at the moment, but that's because we've not got a lot of research to unlock. We have all these icons, and if we mouse over, you can see like there's things to click. And there's stuff to do. So the the basic battery from the energy system from before that's locked behind energy management. And we get some information here. So research, currently researching none. When we select something, it's highlighted. We get the title of the research. We get how long it's going to take. So that's 300 seconds. And then we get some information about it. So we unlock the energy management UI and batteries for your colony. Unlocked basic battery. We can switch between different things. Expanded hydroponics means we can get better hydroponics. So there's medium and large hydroponics bays in the game now. Well, they're not called mediums. They're called standard, or they're just called hydroponics bays and that kind of thing. Rehydration techniques. So we're talking about hydrators. So in actual colonization efforts in the real world, a lot of your food that will be brought with you from Earth would be dried. And you would probably eat it in its dried form. But there are ways to rehydrate dried foods. So I thought of using that as a kind of a way to, further improve food stocks in the game and just kind of add a bit of variety. We have hydrogel. So this is just a tech which gives you a colony buff. So it says produce. So it says produce. I was just reading my own text right, and it didn't make sense to me first. Sorry. Produce gels that can help hydrate and clean skin, allowing the colony to use less water. So obviously, in the actual colony situation, you're gonna be using a lot of water, but your supplies of water might be limited, so you'd want to produce products that allow you to use less water. So gels might allow you to use less water. Water recycling, so we have a new building called the water collectors. So we have basic, standard, and large. And the whole idea is kind of inspired by how the International Space Station works, where they recycle a majority of the water they consume. You know, whether it's like they recycle water from the air, water from their urine, that kind of stuff. So that's kind of based on this, and this is just like a water collector that will process the wastewater and allow you to produce more. Air conversion techniques unlocks the middle tier waiver. Improved air filters unlocks the new tier of Moxie. Storage solutions unlocks you a basic warehouse. Material gathering unlocks you the Xeno miner, and will unlock you the basic 3D printer and the masonry and the advanced versions of both of those. There's an upgraded versions of both of those structures. There's also upgraded versions of the Moxie and the Waver. They go up to large as well. Pretty much, if there's a lot of structures that go up in 3 tiers, and there's a couple that go up in 2 tiers. The lab, the 3D printer, and the masonry go up into 2 tiers. We have the food, water, and air production go up in 3 tiers. So what else do we have? So the space tourism unlocks Space Hotel. This also unlocks the decoration tree. I'm going to go ahead and research that, and hopefully I have enough resources to not die. I need to fix that. So I have a debug mode in. It says it takes 120 seconds, but on the debug, all research takes 2 seconds. And you can see quite clearly now that this research is done because it's always green. And if you load a game, it will actually stay green as well. So we have colony tours. Take tourists out and guide tours of colony. So this will improve your tourism home interest values and apply buffs. Colony sightseeing. Build decorations and sites for tourists to remember their ultimate holiday. So this is going to unlock the decorations and stuff for you. It also give you another buff for your colony. So let's just go ahead and research this. And basic decorations. This is the first decoration set. So we've added quite a few decorations into the game. So we've got like statues, planters, we have biodomes, we have tourist attractions like Ferris wheels and observation towers, we have zero gravity arenas and racetracks. So certain aspects of these things couldn't be done in the space above ground. So they're going to be like basically what you will build is entrances to something that will be below ground. So let's go ahead and research the basic decorations. And as you can see, we unlock a lot of different researches. So we have tourist attractions, that's the Ferris wheel and the observation tower. And as you can see, some of these numbers are getting bigger and bigger as they go along. So that's 600 seconds, 10 minutes. Biodomes decorations. These if you research the biodomes, you'll unlock 4 structures, which is the 4 seasons. There'll be biodomes of different seasons. Right now they're just living domes, but in the future when we remodel them, they'll contain like encapsulations of seasons on Earth. That kind of thing. So we have statues, decorations. So we've got a few decorations we've added to the game. Yeah, we're running out of resources. I need to be quicker. And we have water features. So waterfalls, whirlpools, and we've got a few fountains as well in game. So they don't do much in game. They add a little bit of tourism for each structure you build, but they're just there to kind of improve the look of your colony. And just mix things up a bit. It's one of those things that I realized quite early that the game is missing. That a lot of people enjoy making it when you're playing city games and colony games or whatever. They enjoy making their colony or their city look good. So that kind of thing. Xeno surveys that will unlock buffs to material gathering and food. Imports and exports will unlock the spaceport and unlock technology and research for that. Okay, let's go to the menu. We're just going to go ahead and game it. And I'll just quickly go through what we were doing. No worries. It's good to know that the game over feature still works. Okay, that's interesting. I'm getting that warning. Interesting. How much energy is it think I'm using? Okay, right. No worries. That should work. And like that. Go. The warning's gone away anyway. It's a bit of a strange one. Right, so back to research. Yeah, so imports exports unlocks our spaceports and it unlocks just general buffs to the export's home interests. Let's have a look, see what other research we can unlock. So yeah, we have trade deals, which unlocks another buff. We have orbital construction. So this is something that's not visually in the game. Basically, there's going to be some concepts of the research is going to suggest that you have an orbital station in place, and you're going to do stuff and build stuff, and yeah, this kind of goes through the research and we'll kind of see. So, research methods unlocks the advanced labs. That's like the tier 2 lab. Orbital construction unlocks orbital station control, which is actually a structure in game, which allows you to do. I think it improves like all home interests basically. Orbital logistics decrease the cooldown supply drops by handling them at the space station. So supply drop cooldown and yeah, I believe supply drop cooldown comes down by like 25%, maybe even 50%. You know, it's a decent buff. We have colonist training scheme, so prepare new colonists faster for their new lives. So that's the supply. That's a population drop cooldown. I haven't actually listed that there. There's a few other things there that unlock the stuff like solar sails, I believe, are hidden away here. The probe stations. Yes, this is something that's not yet implemented. So send out probes to potential new colony sites on a current planet or other nearby planets. This would be kind of an end game situation where your current colony is good, it's self-sufficient, it's working. You don't have to worry about it, and perhaps you're looking for a challenge on a different map or a new map on maybe a much more hazardous site. But obviously that would include us working on different map types. So that's currently not in the game. Renewable energy options unlocks the wind turbine, amongst other things. I believe the probe station unlocks a few different researches as well. Yeah, so we have the drone control, so improved construction speed. So currently you just build stuff instantly, but in future buildings will take a bit of time to construct, and they'll be built by drones. What else do we have? Improved drones, so further improvements to construction speeds, and they're decent buffs as well. Colony net, connect your colony with a colony-wide internet. So just there's some general buffs all across the colony that allows everything just to be a bit more efficient. Laser station, so build stations that hold lasers for energy transfer, improves overall energy output. So that basically gives you a colony-wide buff on energy. So what else we got? So energy management is basic battery, but it also unlocks some other stuff. So further energy management. So we unlock the nuclear plant, which is the RTG, which is a really big source of energy. But there's lots of other things. The research tree has about 60 researchers in it. There are a couple of researchers which essentially do not a lot because they're not implemented. One is this drone control or the probe station. There's another one, I believe, further down this tree and the Xeno surveys called, I believe I'll just call it Project Terror, which is basically what the end game and what will be in the next build, which is the end game, where you're trying to terraform the planet and make it livable. And if you successfully make it livable, you suddenly do not have to worry about food, water, and air. It becomes non-factors in your colony, which is also the reason why we're looking to add the probe station and other worlds for you to kind of colonize. Because once you've terraformed the world, even though it's going to be a long thing, it's going to feel like there's less to do, if that makes sense. There's less for you to immediately worry about. So yeah, that's the research system. Obviously, we're in debug mode, so all researches take 2 seconds. But yeah, it won't take 2 seconds in the full build. I need to redo the build and fix that. It will take 2 seconds for me to fix. Um, yeah. So what else have we done? I've talked about. I'm just reading through the patch notes here. So yeah, 31 new structures in the game, 60 pieces of research. All the in-game UIs had a scaling path, which you see. Um, we've locked some structures. So yeah, we've locked the wind turbine, the energy battery, the medium warehouse, the xenominer, the spaceport, the basic 3D printer, and the basic masonry behind research now. Oh yes, that's one thing we've done as well. We've reworked some of the medium and the large models. So um, there was an initial build we put out for something like the Moxie, where the medium version of it was 3D words working nice. Was just a taller version of this model. I just scaled, I stretched it basically. It was just a basic version. But let's go and find the standard Moxie. And we should see that this unlocks as well. This will be good. So if we go to air, yep, there's our other Moxie. So see basic, standard. What we've done here is actually we've just included more, because actually that's how Moxie would work. It scales and allows you to build kind of, it's a modular technology. I see the numbers are a bit off here. But yeah, so that's kind of, we've done that with certain models where we just stretched it. So we've tried to scale that back. The Moxie and the Wave are a couple of prime examples of that. Also the water collector is something we did it on. We worked the calculations on resource sticks. You can see that because the numbers are really funky. I need to just do another pass on those calculations. That will take 2 seconds. I actually need the number down to not. I'll make it a whole number. I won't make it decimals because that will just be too much to deal with. What else have we got? Main menu has new structures. Also, we fixed some issues. Oh yeah, so the in-game pause menu had back to game, save, continue, save, and exit menu. This was actually an options menu. It was an options menu in build 3. It just said back to game twice. Is because I duplicated the back to game button to add it into this menu. Apparently, I forgot to change the text at some point. But the options menu is there. It works. It's all good. Yeah. So research also works with loading and saving. It's all there. It all works really well, as far as I'm aware. The testing I've done, which was quite extensive yesterday, it works for me. If you have any bugs or issues again with the build, just let me know. I will do my best to fix them. If you do have a save of your issue, that would be even better. So yeah, we fixed the numbers are in clear on the resources bar. Fixed the research bugs. Oh yeah, and there was a bug where you could upgrade a building. And this shouldn't be here. There was a bug where you could upgrade a building regardless of whether you research technology or not. So that's just something I thought I'd fixed, but apparently I haven't. And also it's not working correctly. Upgrading needs fixing. So yeah, so there's a couple of bugs that need to be fixed before I actually put this out in a full build. But I'll do that before it gets put on itch.io, I hope. If not, I'll just add it to the known bugs list on the build notes. But yeah, that's Colonise. It's there was a lot of stuff added to the game this time around. It was a lot of work just to get this build together. And like I say, it was a few weeks of not a lot of progress, feeling like it had been made, and then suddenly it all just came together really well, and it all works. So yeah, pretty happy with the build we've got. There's a few bugs we need to fix, but I'm hoping to get those fixed before we get the build out to you. But this is 9 a.m. on the Friday, so basically I will try and bug fix till about 12, and then we'll push the build out regardless of bugs. Or major bugs. There's no game breaking bugs, I think, so we'll see how it goes. Thanks for your time. Hopefully you enjoy Eureka. God, this has been a long build video. And hopefully you enjoy the game. Feel free to let us know what you think of the game, any bugs you find, any feedback, just general thoughts on the game. Yeah, that's it. I'm blank. Thank you for your time, and we'll catch you next time on Build 5.